Did you know that you can make salsa with a few ingredients from your pepper pantry, and it's not even that complicated? You might be asking, why would you want to make salsa with these dried ingredients? Well, you just never know when you might find yourself in a situation where fresh ingredients aren't available. Maybe it's a grid down scenario, or maybe you're camping or backpacking and you'd still like to make some salsa or have that with you, but you don't have the ability to have the fresh or even a canned or a bottled salsa, but you could have dry ingredients that you could make it yourself. Today I'm going to walk you through this process. We're going to be making up a single little serving that can be doubled, tripled, quadrupled to make as much as you want, and it's actually pretty good. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get to it. You just got to get prepared. As with all salsa making, it's kind of an item where you can put into it whatever you'd like. So whatever is fresh in the garden, or you have it from the store, or their flavors you like, those are the things that you can put into your salsa. And so it's just things that are available you can use. The same idea goes here. Whatever you have in your pantry or whatever you like to use is what's going to go in to the bowl, and that will be what our salsa is. So there are a few things. Today I'm going to kind of do a thick and chunky sort of version. And to make the thick and chunky, we've got some diced bell peppers along with some minced garlic, and we're going to be doing some chopped onion. Those particular items work better if we have some warm water. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up a little bit of water so that we can start to hydrate those items. For this particular recipe, we're going to need a 1/4 cup of water. I'll leave all of the recipe notes that I'm doing here in the description below so that you can have that to be able to practice and experiment with. So for this single serving that we're going to make, we're only going to need a 1/4 cup of water, which isn't a lot of water, but neither is a single serving. So we're going to add a 1/4 cup to our pot, which doesn't look like a lot of water. It's going to heat really fast. So we'll turn on our stove. Set that on there. And it's really only going to take like 30 seconds or less. I can already start to see bubbles forming. This heat is really going to help to have those items hydrate faster. So we want some warm water. Okay, we've already got a boil. That did not take long. Let's add our 1/4 cup of water right into our little bowl here. Oh yeah, you can see all the steam coming off there. So now we have warm water. Now this could be done with cold water. It's just going to take longer to hydrate these different items. But with warm water, we should be able to have a salsa here quick and be able to make this video come together for us. So the first item we're going to put in is our diced peppers, because they need the longest amount of time to work. Now if you've never used diced peppers before, they're just a green and red pepper that they have dehydrated and cut into these small little pieces so they can rehydrate well. And we don't need very many of those. I'm going to be looking over here at my recipe just to make sure I get everything right. But again, all of that will be in the description. So our chunky items, we're going to do a 1/2 tablespoon of these red and green peppers. So just a 1/2 of those in there. And they will hydrate and get larger as they get the water put back into them. And then we're going to do a little bit of the dehydrated onion. Again, they have the same sort of thing. It's an onion that's been cut down, and then all the moisture has been, water's come out of them. And so they're just a nice little thing. Oh, and those smell awesome. We're going to do another 1/2 tablespoon of those as well, because you need onion if you're going to have a chunky salsa. And then the final thing we're going to do with this is the minced garlic, like I was saying. But we don't need as much of it. I'm just going to do a 1/2 of a teaspoon of this. Now the reason I've gone with the minced is that you can see that it has some texture to it. Like, it's not just the powder that you could use if you didn't have this, but if you want the thick and chunky style, then you're going to want a little bit of texture, and that minced garlic will give you some of that texture there. Now these are our main chunky items. So we're going to give those just a second to start hydrating. Give them a stir, make sure they're all mixed in there. And that is looking good. Now for our sauce, this is where we're going to start with our tomato powder. So, because this is a tomato salsa that we're making, and tomato powder is just, my understanding is just tomato that's been dried and then ground into this really fine powder. So we're going to do what? Let's see. We're going to do a heaping tablespoon. That looks heaping to me. We're just going to put that right on top there. You can see the fineness of this powder. And what's so awesome about that is that it rehydrates and mixes up really well because of how fine that powder is. Going down the list, we're going to add a little bit of salt. And because this is just an individual serving, none of these quantities are that large because as you can see, we're just making a very small batch. So for salt, we're going to need a quarter of a teaspoon. And then with salt, we're going to add a little bit of sugar to sweeten that out. And we're going to need 1 teaspoon of sugar. To add a little bit of tang to our salsa, we are going to be putting some distilled white vinegar into it. Not a lot, just another teaspoon. That will help that taste delicious. And then the final items that we're going to put into this are some oregano, some cumin, and then a bit of spice. And each of these is just going to need 1/8 of a teaspoon. So we'll start with the oregano, and 1/8 is just, it's a very small amount, but it adds so much flavor to it. And again, if you don't happen to have these, you could maybe use some taco seasoning or some other type of items that you have, or leave them out and see how you like it. And then if you get some later, you can make some with it. This one has a great flavor to it. The ground cumin is really tasty. And then for the heat, depending upon your preference or level of spice that you like or your family, you can add as little, like you could add none if you didn't want any heat, or you could add a lot if you really like heat. I'm just going to add a little tiny bit. That is hardly anything, but that will add quite a bit of spice to our little salsa there. And that's it. Those are the ingredients that we needed. We've got them in the bowl there. We're going to give it a little stir and see how it looks. Now what's kind of fun about making salsa or any little things like this is you make it for you. So if it's too thick, you can add more water. If it's too thin, you can add more tomato powder to it. Like I'm looking at this. We'll give it just a second to see how it starts to hydrate, and you can adjust it. Another neat thing is once you make one batch of this and you say, well, I prefer it to be this, or I like this, or I don't like this, well, the next time you make it, you can change it up and try it differently. So you can make it how you want it to be. That, I think, is looking really good. That is a very thick and chunky salsa. You can see all of those things happening inside of there. With the onion and the green pepper and the garlic, like that has really come together into a nice thick and chunky salsa. I think all that's left is to give it a taste and see what we think. Let me grab a few corn chips and I will see what I think. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks so good on that chip there. That is just holding on nice and neat. You're getting a lot there. You got the tomato, the garlic. I can taste the heat. I don't know if I got any bell peppers in that one. Sometimes they're a tidbit chewy until they've had a good chance to hydrate. That has a lot of flavor. This would be something great if you were having like some potatoes or some eggs or maybe even some tacos, burritos, and needed a salsa. This would be something you could make up in a couple minutes. And again, you can adjust the quantities to whatever you need and be able to have a simple salsa that would be awesome to be part of the meal that you're making. Well, I hope that this helps you to see how simple it is to make a salsa at home with ingredients from your prepper pantry. Again, nothing was fresh, but nothing really needed to be fresh. It would be interesting to have a taste test with some salsa connoisseur and see what they think of this. But I'm not that person. So I think it tastes great, and in a grid down or a camping situation, this would be a real treat to have, and it would be able to add to any dish that you're serving. If you're interested in seeing any of the other videos that I've been making that I've been doing for my prepper pantry, I'll have a playlist. It'll be up here somewhere. Check that out. I've got some ketchup and other tomato type products along with other recipes I've been working on. So take a look at those and see if any of those help you in your emergency preparedness. And once again, I'd like to thank you for your time, and may God bless you as you prepare every needful thing. Thank you. I'm going to go give some of this to my mom. She'll like it.